Welcome to the deep dive. We cut through the noise to really get to the core of topics that matter. And today, wow, we're diving into a huge shift happening in education. We're focusing on those big questions from the title. Olo, is your classroom AI proof? Conrad Hughes warns, get on board or be left behind in this age of exponentials.
Exactly. And this isn't just about, some new gadget in the classroom.
Yeah.
It's way bigger. It's really forcing a fundamental look at how we teach, how we learn. And to get our heads around this, we're looking at an Al Jazeera documentary in a YouTube video. The title was, Will Artificial Intelligence Replace Teachers in Classrooms? The Stream.
Mm.
And they feature some really key voices in this whole debate.
Absolutely. We'll be digging into what Conrad Hughes is saying. He's the Director General at the International School of Geneva and also a Senior Fellow at UNESCO's International Bureau of Education. And yeah, he seems to have a pretty strong stance on educators needing to, well, get with the program.
hmm And then there's Lux Miranda, a doctoral student from the Uppsala Social Robotics Lab. She's doing research right on the ground, looking at the practical side of things, like putting robots in classrooms,
Yeah.
which, as we'll get into, well, it's fascinating stuff. And we also hear from Angelica Georges. She's an educational content creator, so she's seeing how all this is actually hitting students and teachers day to day.
Right. So our goal today, pretty simple, really. Pull out the key stuff from these experts about AI's impact. We want to understand the real upsides, but also the big hurdles. Basically, helping you figure out what this all means for the future of learning, whether you're a student, a teacher, or just trying to keep up. So let's jump in. Conrad Hughes doesn't really mince words, does he? He says it's almost like you have to get on board with artificial intelligence because we have no choice. It's here. It really sets the tone, I think. Decisive.
It definitely does. It reflects this growing sense that AI isn't some sci-fi thing anymore. It's here, it's now, it's in our lives. And education, it's not going to be different. What really stands out from Hughes, though, is his point about the speed. Just how fast this is all moving. He uses this analogy. It's quite powerful, actually, comparing AI's growth from like a preschooler up to the sort of PhD engineer in just a couple of years.
Wow. Preschooler to PhD engineer.
Yeah. And then he predicts we'll have agentic autonomous coworkers, think AI assistants that really take initiative maybe by 2030.
2030, that's not far off at all.
Not at all.
It really drives home that this isn't just slow, steady change. It's like exponential.
Yeah.
And Hughes argues that this speed, this massive shift, means we absolutely have to rethink our teaching methods, right? Our whole approach.
Exactly. If the tools students have and the world they're heading into are being changed so fundamentally by AI, well, then we have to ask, what should education be about now? What are the priorities?
And one big target for Hughes is assessment, how we test students. He's pretty critical, isn't he? He calls it a narrow, high-stakes testing environment where it's essentially knowledge regurgitation. I think many of us know exactly what he means there.
Oh, yeah. And his point gets really sharp when you think about AI. He basically asks this question, and it's one for you listening to. If your tests can be easily gamed by AI, what kind of real intelligence are you actually testing? I mean, it forces you to stop and think, right, what's the value of a test that just checks if you can recall facts when a machine can do that instantly?
So if just spitting back facts is, well, less important because AI can do it, what should tests measure instead? Hughes talks about needing assessments that are future ready, ones that look at competences, at attitudes, at skills, as well as knowledge. That sounds much more holistic and maybe more useful.
It definitely sounds broader, more practical. The focus shifts, away from just memorizing things. It moves towards, can you use what you know? Can you solve problems? Can you work with others? Can you demonstrate skills in a real way? Think like project work or maybe group tasks, solving a complex issue or building a portfolio, stuff that shows you can do things, not just remember facts for a test.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, Hughes also talks about the human skills that become even more important because of AI. He calls it the untamed human advantage. I like that phrase. It's catchy.
It is good, isn't it?
So what does he mean? First up, he mentions things like crystal clear communication, seamless collaboration, and masterful complex problem solving.
Right. And these are things that, yeah, AI might help with,
Mm-hmm.
but it can't really replicate the human depth, the nuance. Good communication needs empathy, right? Real teamwork needs that shared drive, that emotional connection, and truly creative problem solving. That often involves intuition, making connections AI wouldn't necessarily see. So the takeaway is, in a world with more AI, these core human skills, they become even more valuable. Your premium skills almost.
Okay. Next on his list, laser sharp critical discernment. So being able to question, evaluate, spot biases in what AI puts out. And that feels incredibly crucial, especially when AI can, sometimes get things wrong or just echo biases from its training data.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, paramount even. As we rely more on AI for information, we have to be able to question it.
Yeah.
To look at its output and ask, okay, where's this coming from? Is it fair? Is it accurate? What's it not telling me? It's about having the mental toolkit to really dig into information, not just swallowing it whole.
Then he brings up radical, creative, and innovative thinking, nurturing originality. So if AI can generate text or code or even suggest ideas, the human spark of genuine new thinking becomes even more special.
That's the idea. AI is great at, say, remixing existing ideas or finding the best known solution. But that leap into completely new, challenging the way things are done, that often comes from human creativity, that spark.
Right. And then there's relentless lifelong learning and unwavering self-agency, fostering a growth mindset. This sounds like saying, look, school's not the end of learning. You have to keep going, keep adapting, take charge yourself.
It's vital,
Yeah.
especially when things are changing so fast. AI evolves, industries shift. So the ability to just keep learning, adapt to new tools, new information, and really own your development, that's key to navigating whatever comes next.
And the last one he mentions is profound ethical considerations in every interaction with AI. Just being really mindful and responsible about how we use these powerful tools.
Yet you can't escape the ethics. As AI gets woven deeper into everything, we constantly need to ask, is this fair? Is it transparent? Who's accountable? What are the bigger impacts on society?
So if AI takes over some of the basic info delivery, the teacher's role changes. Not just the messenger anymore. Hughes calls them knowledge architects. That's a really interesting way to put it.
It really is. It shifts the job description, doesn't it? It becomes less about just handing out facts and more about guiding students through this massive ocean of information, including AI-generated stuff. So teaching them how to search effectively, how to evaluate sources critically, how to pull together information from all over to build real understanding.
And being able to kickstart debates, helping students tell the difference between, say, a genuinely useful insight from AI and, well, something it just made up, that seems like a core skill for the knowledge architect.
For sure. In a world where convincing-sounding information, true or false, can be generated so easily, being able to analyze it, spot the fake stuff, argue reasonably, that becomes absolutely fundamental.
Okay, so when we actually bring AI into the classroom, Hughes says we need to be smart about it. He talks about demystifying it for students, making sure they understand what it is and isn't, and using it as an enhancement tool, not a crutch.
Yeah, that's a really key difference. It's not about letting AI do the thinking for you. It's about using it strategically to make the learning better or more efficient. Like the source mentioned examples, maybe AI could quickly pull up different viewpoints on a historical event for students to compare, or help a student get organized with a study schedule. Things like that. Tools, not replacements.
Now, while Conrad Hughes gives us this strong vision, the Al Jazeera piece also brings up those wider societal issues, things like data privacy, algorithmic bias, and the risk that AI could actually make the gap between the haves and have-nots even wider, the digital divide issue.
Yes, those are definitely huge concerns in the bigger picture. And while we're mainly focusing on Hughes's points today, because of the title, it's important to remember those other perspectives from the documentary are part of the whole conversation too. Critical parts, really.
Okay, so towards the end, Conrad Hughes offers some pretty direct advice for young people navigating what he calls this age of exponentials. He says, be calm, be yourself, be creative, be critical, be ethical. It's almost like a mantra for this era.
It really is. It sums up so much, doesn't it? It blends those essential human qualities with the skills needed for this tech-heavy world, and it highlights that the core of education, the human part, remains vital. It's the methods that need to change, adapt. It's about embracing that change, but staying true to fundamental values.
And I liked his final point, too, about embracing change and make the change you want to see. It feels like a call to action, saying we're not just passengers here. We can actually shape how this plays out.
Absolutely. It encourages us to be thoughtful, to be proactive, to really think about how we use AI, what we want from it, and what our responsibilities are.
Okay, so wrapping this up. Conrad Hughes, as our title highlights, makes a really compelling argument that AI is here, it's moving incredibly fast, and education has to adapt. We can't ignore it. Assessment needs to change, focusing less on recall, more on those uniquely human skills, creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, ethics. And AI should be integrated carefully as a tool to enhance learning, not to replace the core skills.
Exactly. And as you think about all this, consider how these ideas from Hughes, and the wider discussion, connect with your own learning, your work, how you engage with information day to day.
So we'll leave you with this thought sparked by Hughes calling this the age of exponentials. How will you personally navigate this? How can you balance harnessing the power of AI with holding on to what makes us human connection, critical thought, creativity, ethics in a world that's changing faster than ever? Something to mull over. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.